Cisco, what is changing at the FDA in terms of quality versus compliance?
So that's actually a great question, and just for level setting and context, the agency, and I don't want to come up here and state that compliance is not important, it's still important, but it's the recognition that it is your baseline, right? It is where your starting point is your source of stability, but there's a lot more that can be done. There's a lot more that we should be focused on, and oftentimes, and this is something that our center director has taken to the forefront when he's gone out and given these discussions, quality doesn't always equal compliance, and the other way around. So what we're looking to do right now is really drive the focus more on the pieces and the mechanisms and a way of monitoring and measuring that focuses on that patient impact, right? That patient safety piece. Focus on that, focus on the right things. Quality should be a value added to your organization, not about managing the regulatory engagement or the regulatory activities. So that shift is really, I think, what's going on within CDRH, within FDA. It is really trying to refocus things back onto the pieces that matter and will drive value first for the patient. I will state this 100% of the time, always. Our main focus is always patients and patient safety. Your second focus should be your business. That's perfectly okay. The last things you should be really considering and worried about is the regulator, and that's really where the shift is moving.
Can you share with us some information about the CFQ, which stands for Case for Quality, initiative pertaining to the expansion of the Voluntary Improvement Program? Again, it's VIP. We love to make abbreviation for everything, to include a VIP for non-conformance sites.
Yeah, because the acronyms aren't going to get confusing anytime soon. So just out of curiosity, show of hands, so I know where to level set from. How many people have heard of our Case for Quality Voluntary Improvement Program? Oh, good, more than I thought. So just for those who haven't, a quick primer on this. The agency a couple years ago started a pilot program that leverages a maturity model, CMMI in particular, to really go in and assess an organization. Now, we limit it to compliant firms to begin with, to limit, any risk, to really manage what was going on. We didn't want to go in there and create a quality system. That's what the regs are for. That's what we're trying to really allow organizations to take responsibility on. What we wanted to do was execute an assessment that focused on how well was that system working. Was it delivering? Was it driving what you intended? Was it driving value? So we created a pilot program that actually allows organizations to participate, run through that, get an appraisal versus a inspection or an audit. Very different experience. And if you need more details on that, there's a lot of information extra that I can guide you to really share what's going on. At the same time, the agency adjusted certain regulatory engagements to accelerate the participation, the improvements that were going on within an organization. So that has been hugely successful. We just put out a report on the results over the course of the year. It's really driven a lot of impact for the participating manufacturers. It's helped us better utilize our resources. It's had a measurable impact from a participating site on patients, better product coming out to market. There was value, and what we recognized is the approach applies to non-compliant sites that are struggling. So what we are dealing with right now with regards to the Case for Quality pilot and its expansion, or new pilot really is what we're testing out, is how do we take that previous successful model and vary it, tweak it a bit, to be able to help a firm who's struggling, who is in non-compliant state, come up to speed faster, engage more. The CMMI comes in and looks at the integration, and looks at everything from a system standpoint, but that's not the end-all, be-all. We really needed a different component to that, and a lot of it is focused on how do we sustain and maintain this set of visibility into the product performance in the field so that we know what's going on from a safety piece, and how does it tie back to the controls, the actual observable metrics that are happening within an organization. And that's the piece that we are trying to find the balancing act. That's one of the reasons I think we've been partnering not just with MDIC in the development of this with CMMI. Larry will talk a little bit more about what he's been doing, but his organization, his efforts in order to get down to those critically measurable components, right? The pieces that allow us to sustain the idea and visibility into how safety and the patient engagement is really maintained and monitored in the organization to allow the flexibility for the systemic improvements that are needed within that space.